Hi guys, welcome back to day 4 of our 30 days wild. So we've been introducing you to lots of different species so far and we've got lots more to come. We have lost the glorious sunshine, but do not worry because believe it or not it is going to help the nature come back into your wild gardens. So the little bit of drizzle and the rainfall we've had over the past day is going to be really good for us because it's going to bring out all them insects that have been a little bit dehydrated, hiding underground so they don't get too hot. So don't worry, rainfall is a good thing. It means that we're going to have lots more exciting things to see. So today we are going to talk about newts, okay? They are a very specialised animal and they are a keystone species. So a keystone species is something that represents the environment and the ecosystem that it lives in, and newts are the perfect example because not only do they live in water, they live on land as well. So they are really important to tell you what's going on in each habitat. So if you see a decline in these species, it means there's something wrong within their environment. It could be the water, it could be the land, or it could be both. But if one thing is affected in the environment and the ecosystem, then that means that other animals are going to suffer as well. So newts are really important. Now in the UK we have 3 native species of newts. We have the great crested newt that I'm sure everyone has heard of. These are protected. Please do not go touching them, disturbing them. They are a protected species from the Wildlife and Countryside Act 1981. So if you see them, you can look at them, but please do not go and interfere with them. They are highly protected. They are much larger than your normal newt, and males have a nice big crest on their back, okay? So please don't touch these ones. The other 2 newts we have are also protected, and they are the smooth newt and the palmate newt. These ones are only partially protected, so they are illegal to sell, and they are illegal to keep as pets. You can't go and pick one up out of your wildlife garden and put it in your house and keep an eye on it that way. I can guarantee you it will not survive, okay? So these are the 3 newts we have, and they are all protected because they are really important. They represent their ecosystem. So newts have a very specialised life cycle. They go through a phase called metamorphosis. Okay, big word, I know, but I'm going to summarise it for you. So the female newt, she will come along and she will lay her eggs in a pond. Now she can lay over 100 eggs, okay, so that's lots of eggs. And she'll lay 1 egg on a leaf and then she will use her back legs and fold the leaf over to protect her egg. Okay, because she doesn't want other animals coming and eating her eggs, so she's protecting them by folding that leaf all over. And then the next phase, after 4 weeks of the egg being laid, they hatch and we get some little larvae. They are about this big, they are tiny, but believe it or not, they have front legs, okay, and they have a little tail at the back, kind of like a tadpole, okay, but they're newts, okay, so they're really interesting. And then they also have these feathery gills. They're like this and they stick up and they look really feathery, and this helps them breathe in, okay, so it's before their gills have fully formed on the side of their head, so they have these incredible little gills. I'm hoping it's not going to rain right now. Okay, and then the juveniles, they eventually lose them and they have grown all these gills on the side of their heads that allow them to breathe underwater, and also through their skin. And then adult newts move into ponds in the spring to lay more eggs, okay? So newts are really interesting. They go through this really weird phase. It's really fun. If you have them in your garden, if you go with a torch and you can see the female laying the eggs at night time, and then you can also see the little ones being hatched about 4 weeks later, and you can watch them grow, okay? It's really interesting and really fun. So all newts are carnivores, okay? So a carnivore is something that's essentially a meat eater. They eat insects, slugs, worms, snails, small little inverts that you find in your pond, and the tadpoles also eat a little bit of algae, but they are mainly carnivores, okay? So they're really important. And all amphibians, including frogs, toads, salamanders, they all have gills and they all have smooth skin so that they can breathe on land and in water. Okay? Now saying this, their skin is very wet when they're in the water, if you pick them up with very, very dry hands, you are going to harm this animal, okay? It goes for frogs and newts as well. So my advice is please don't touch. You have sweat on your hands. Your body produces chemicals that can be very dangerous to these newts and these frogs. So if you see them, please don't go picking them up, okay? Not with your hands at least. If you want to get a damp piece of wood or something to like kind of encourage them to go onto it, that would probably be the best bet, but please avoid using your hands to pick up our newts. They are very, very delicate, okay? So the ecosystem changes dramatically. So say if there was some water contamination or something like that, newts would come onto land. They can live both on land and in water. The best place to find them on land is under rocks, okay? In the winter they hibernate, okay? So we all know what hibernation is. It's what bears do. It's where they go to sleep for a very, very long time during the cold weather. Now if you tuned into our amphibian talk a couple of weeks ago, you would have learnt that newts and other amphibians are cold-blooded, which means they can't regulate their body temperature, they can't keep themselves warm, and they can't cool themselves down. So what we want to do is they'll be in warm places, so under rocks where it's nice and warm. If you've got a metal sheet or something, you can place it on the ground. They will curl underneath it once it's warmed up so that they can warm their bodies up without being too exposed, because they have lots of predators. Okay, so there's lots of ways that we can help the newts in our garden. Okay, if you don't have them, there's also lots of ways for you to encourage them into your garden. So this is something I saw on the internet the other day and I thought it was incredible. You guys can make this with your little one. It's going to be fun and interesting. So build a pond. I don't mean something that's huge, you know, going to cost so much money and going to drain your bank account. Something small and sweet that you can have fun doing with your kids, that you can do in about an hour. So all you're going to need is really one of these. Okay, so these are these storage tubs that you can get that slot underneath your bed. They're about £3 from any shop. And what you're going to do is you're going to dig a hole so this slots perfectly into that hole so that it's flush with the grass in your garden. Okay, and then you can put pebbles and stuff around it. You can put a couple of water plants in there. You can even put a little ramp going out of it with some stone so that animals can get in and out quite happily. Honestly, it looks incredible, the ones that I've seen people complete. You guys can have fun building it, and you're also encouraging things into your garden. Okay, not only will this help the newts and the frogs, it's also going to help water invertebrates like pond skaters, so you can check it every day and see whether you've got something new. Foxes, badgers and hedgehogs, if you give them that little slope down into it, they might even come and drink out of it. So it's really important, and you'll be helping the animals, okay? So build your own little dragon pond, okay? We'll call it a dragon pond, it sounds really cool. You can also go dragon hunting, so you can go out and find newts. The best way to do this is if you get a torch and you go on a nighttime walk, okay? So go to a pond where you think you might suspect newts and shine your torch into the pond. You can take your little ones with you to do this, and you will see things moving around, so the torch will illuminate the pond so that you can see what's going on underneath the surface. You'll be able to catch some fish, you might see some newts laying their eggs. If you want to see egg laying, the best time to do this is around April time, April to May. And then if you want to go for another dragon hunt a little bit later, like now, if you go to the edges of ponds and stuff and lift up some rocks, some paving slabs, logs, you might find some newts under there. We do have a couple of pictures that we're going to show you at the end. There is a giant cluster of smooth newts that look like someone has lifted up a paving slab so you can see them. So yeah, they're really incredible. Now a big thing that people don't realise is when they see a newt on land, they think it's a lizard because their skin dries out. They don't look moist when they're on land, but if it's been a dry few days, they look kind of velvety, okay? So please be aware of what you're seeing. There is this book here, Newts in Your Garden. It encourages them to come into your garden. It's got lots of hints and tips. It's one of my favourite books, I'm not gonna lie. But it tells you about all the different colours, how the newts look, what they eat, what you can do to encourage them into your garden, why they're protected and stuff like that. You can also record if you see newts on the Ark Trust website. So that's the Amphibian and Reptile Conservation Trust website. These guys have lots of hints and tips as well for you guys to go out and see newts, so please have a look at them. We're just going to finish off with what threats these newts have in the wild, okay? So believe it or not, even though that I said there's 3 native newts, unfortunately there is 2 non-native newts that are in the UK. So non-native means that they never came from this country. Both species of these newts have been released from captivity, or they've been escaped from captivity, but they are thriving here because they've figured out how to survive. It's just the way the world works, it's evolution. So the 2 species that we have the Italian great crested newt. It looks a lot like our great crested newt, however it is slightly smaller. They're not protected, but you can get confused, so your best bet is just to leave them alone anyway. And the last one is the alpine newt, okay? It looks a lot like our smooth newt, but slightly bigger than our smooth newt. But yeah, these guys escaped from captivity and are breeding and thriving in the wild. So we actually have 5 species in the UK, but only 2 are native, okay? Other threats these guys have to worry about is obviously pollution. If people are throwing rubbish and stuff into small ponds and small lakes, then they have to worry about that. Oil spillages and stuff like that into ponds. You will never find newts in streams. They shouldn't be there. They like still bodies of water, not moving bodies of water. The main predators for our newts are grass snakes. They are a big one. We've got kingfishers. Believe it or not, ducks eat newts, and so do herons. So these guys really need our help. They are protected, they are in decline, and we need to encourage to help them thrive. If they become removed from the environment, it means there is something severely wrong. Okay? Now the other thing is obviously building sites, okay? They're taking away the grassland, they're building these gorgeous houses, but builders don't realise how protected newts are. They have to call an ecologist. If you remember, we said that Katie was an ecologist who did our hedgehog talk. So they bring in an ecologist that is specialised to work with newts, and them guys, they catch them up and they relocate them to a safe area, a protected site. So it's really important that we do help these guys. I hope you enjoy the pictures of the newts, and I will tune in tomorrow with you so we can look at some colourful invertebrates. Thank you very much for listening, guys. Bye!